Hi, this is Burr Stewart, and now what are we looking at? Welcome to part 73 of my continuing series of model railroad operations video. What are we looking at? In this video, we're going to be titillated by the Titfield Thunderbolt and continue to obsess about those rotating wheel bearings in the scale trains pumpkins, as well as little conventional operations with a BN9, preparing to take some cars to be loaded by Milwaukee onto the car barge to Port Townsend. So let's get started. Brian Alchlip is a well-known diesel detailer, and he's gotten obsessed lately with the idea of these GE diesels on the narrow gauge. And this is one of his recent projects. He took an old Alco RSD Milwaukee switcher that I had from the 1980s with a Cato drive in it. It's a beautiful running locomotive. And he took a 3D printed shell, painted it as if the Denver and Rio Grande Western had dieselized into the 70s. Which works really well for this layout because we have an expansion of the DRGW all the way to Everett, Washington on my narrow gauge branch. So I'm just delighted that he's doing this, and you can expect to see more fun with diesels on the narrow gauge in upcoming videos. There's a picture of me taking a picture of his engines. Now we come to the bizarre part of the program. Did you hear that brief whistle in the background? That didn't sound like a modern pumpkin. I don't mean to be so cute. These are very fancy BNSF 4400 horsepower diesel locomotives. Seems kind of wrong to call them pumpkins, but that's what we do. But why is it sounding like a steam engine? Well, let's take it one more time. Isn't that a weird sound for a diesel locomotive? Oh my goodness. It's like coyotes in the neighborhood or something. But now it's starting to sound like a steam engine, but this is a diesel. What's going on here? You got to admire those rotating journal boxes. Look at that. Oh, so cool. These are the new scale trains, ES44 ACs with the Heritage 2 paint. Beautiful. There's Mount Index in the background. But I'm still hearing a steam engine sound. What? Well, you're in for a treat. This is called the Titfield Thunderbolt. The Titfield Thunderbolt. I never heard of it. It's apparently from a famous movie in 1953, and Rapido has just put out a model of it, which runs amazingly well. But it was going backwards, so we had to do this one more time because we needed to turn the Titfield Thunderbolt around so that it was running forward. And so now we'll do it right. I promise this is the last time. Also, we decided to run it up on the cutoff to Bellingham because that made sense for what the boys wanted to do, which was have the steam engine chase the diesels. See, there's the steam engine coming at us in the fog there. We'll get it in focus eventually. There we go. Nice. Now, I can't tell you anything about this locomotive other than it's cute. And it's British. And that bridge was originally built by Paul Scholes for his narrow gauge SN3 railroad, but it blocked the view of a mine he was building, so he gave it to me. So here are our 3 scale trains diesels being broken in by Dave Enger. You know I would never do anything modern on this 1973 layout, right? And it's being chased by this 1953 steam engine. Actually, it would probably be an 1853 steam engine because this is obviously one of the very, very early steam engines in the development of the railroad industry. Now this scale trains model is amazingly well running, smooth, sounds great. I can't quite make out what the conductor is saying in the announcements that are occasionally heard from that engine, but we'll do the best we can. So I thought you would want a little rational, regular operations to view, and while all this silliness was going on with the steam engine chasing the modern diesels, back in 1973, Interbay, Scott, as usual, was maintaining order out of this chaos and switching cars in the yard. This is a nice high aerial shot of the Interbay yard in Seattle, which is the main yard in this model railroad layout. If you haven't seen it on other videos, take a look at this channel. Now he did something really interesting here, which I want you to watch. This is in the category of lessons learned, I guess. One of the things he likes to do is take his barbecue skewer uncoupling pick and leave it in the coupler and make sure that it doesn't accidentally recouple, which if you've done much switching, you know that can be annoying when you uncouple a car and then it couples back again. So what he did was to stick the uncoupling pick in and leave it in and then pulled out. And now the next move he makes, you're going to see him do just that. Now there he's sticking the barbecue skewer in to uncouple the cars, and he's left it in, see, so that he can pull the two cars out and the barbecue skewer will be there. But when he tried to pull it out, he discovered it was stuck. So he had to stop, put his little finger down on the top of the car and twist it and get it out. I'm not sure what the lesson learned there is, except that if you use that method, you have to be very gentle, because if you jam the uncoupling pick into the coupler too hard, then you have a project of removing the stick. But I kind of like the idea of temporarily making sure you don't recouple when you uncouple the car like that.
Robin is assembling the Titfield train.
I was too distracted by the Titfield Thunderbolt to pay too much attention to what Scott was doing in the yard, so I can't tell you where these two cars were headed or why he was sending them down the A track. But this is the first track next to the main line. You can see the gray ballast in the main line, and then this tan ballast in the main yard. These first three tracks to the right of the main line are the arrival departure tracks A, B, and C. And he's heading down the A track to do something. It looks like he has some cars down there he's going to couple onto. So that's kind of as far as we go with the regular switching. We've got to go back to the Titfield Thunderbolt, because you just never know when you're going to see such a ridiculous thing on your layout. So at this point, Robin has unpacked the 3 passenger cars that come with this engine, and he's running them down from Burlington to Everett and Seattle, straight from London, or Titfield, I guess, wherever that is, or whatever that is. I don't even want to go there. If you know something about it, leave a comment in the comments below. Crossing the Stillaguamish River Bridge there. Now we're coming down a straight shot towards the Delta Wye. What a great sounding engine. And the whistle has 2 different modes. urgent and freaked out. Oh, love it. I thought this was a cool view of coming through a crossover into the Everett station. This was a regular play date, I guess you would call it, and some other people were talking in the background. These are 00 scale models, but because British railroads are smaller, they fit right into this HO scale layout.
It's probably the most used.
This is my stand-in for the Everett station.
Yep, indeed we do. But,
Oh, didn't that brake sound
yeah,
make sense? Beautiful.
once I buy anywhere, I can just send you the executable by email. My mom's the computer wizard in the family, but I know enough.
If the other people hadn't been talking, we might have been able to hear what that conductor said.
Well, that's good.
But look how smooth the operation of this engine is. This is a very small 00 engine. And Rapido Europe, or Rapido England, has produced a really fine model here. Really, really well running. Robin and I couldn't have been more pleased. There's nothing wrong with that beautiful brass caboose produced by Ed Austin, is there? Well, now we're charging along the coast past Mukilteo towards Seattle.
Oh, that's where it came.
To the delight of rail fans everywhere.
Yeah.
Those are some very detailed coaches too, with interiors and people inside. Someday we'll show you them.
Number 5 is that? Yeah, that's number 5. Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Titfield Thunderbolt. Well, back to 1973 reality. Adam was bringing 4 cars that were billed to the Milwaukee car barge to Port Townsend in the Olympic Peninsula from the Interbay yard over to the Stacy Street yard where a Milwaukee switcher could pick them up. This is downtown Seattle that the train is coming through. And now emerging from the tunnel underneath downtown Seattle, this transfer run enters yard track 3 in Stacy's. Now technically, since the Milwaukee Road switches the car barge, which you can see, or will be able to see on the left, the Burlington Northern should be taking these cars all the way over to Argo Yard, where it would be transferred then to the Milwaukee, and the Milwaukee could take it to the car barge. But for today, we just abbreviated the thing and we dropped these cars in Stacy and then let the Milwaukee switcher pick them up and take them in. I'll do a video on that later, but I just wanted to show you the car cards and waybills for these 4 cars. See, each one of them has a pink band for Stacy Street and then the orange telling you to put it on the car barge. And of course the orange also tells you it's a Milwaukee operation, so it needs to go to the Milwaukee first. Over on the left, you can see the car barge and the Milwaukee switchers parked on the ramp there. Now a few minutes later, the Milwaukee switcher has picked up an idler car and is coupling onto those cars. Bang! What's one of my videos without a bang, right? I'll make a separate video about this whole car barge loading operation. It's kind of interesting. I just wanted to show you that we were doing some authentic 1973 operations here when we weren't totally distracted by the Titfield Thunderbolt. This is a new Athearn Genesis Tsunami 2. Wonderful sound. And there it's going onto the car barge. So with that, we come to the end of another episode in our operations series, and I hope you've enjoyed it, and you'll look at the other videos on my channel. And for now, this is Burr Stewart, wishing you much fun with trains.